So here are my Premier League predictions for match week 7, starting with Bournemouth versus Fulham. Now, both these teams have done pretty well. I'd say Bournemouth, surprisingly, actually, because they lost most of their backline in the summer. But Fulham, against Villa, they weren't that impressive, but usually they do turn up. And so I think this will be a tight game. Bournemouth, though, having Semenyo still there is key. And I think at home, I think they might just edge it. So I'll go for 2-1, I think, for Bournemouth. And then we got the Saturday lunchtime kickoff, which is Leeds against Spurs. This one's a bit more difficult because Spurs, after that win at the Etihad, I thought, okay, Frank's coming in, that new manager bounce is there, and Frank's a good manager, and they brought in some decent players in the summer. But Leeds and all the promoted teams have done well at the start of the season. And I think as well, being on TV adds a little extra gloss to the game as well for Leeds. They're at home. Spurs should win. They have a much better team. But I just feel like Leeds might be able to grab a draw here. So I'll go 1-1 on this one. Then we've got the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Arsenal against West Ham. West Ham, I mean, they got Nuno now, so they should be a bit more solid. But I don't think they got quite the quality needed to beat Arsenal. Arsenal are looking good right now. There's a good win against Newcastle last week. It'd be pretty awful if they don't follow that up with a win here. So I'm going to go for 2-0 Arsenal. I think usually their defence is pretty solid to keep a clean sheet. A team that doesn't usually keep a clean sheet is Manchester United. I've always spoken about United quite a bit, but I think at home to Sunderland, I mean, they got to win this. Like, Sunderland have done very well though. They've had a good start. I think Xhaka was a great buy, and that could be a big thing in this game. The midfield again, like last time out, it was Henderson with Brentford against United. This time, Xhaka, another experienced midfielder against the Bruno combination midfield with whoever it's going to be. Probably Casemiro, which I think has definitely worked the best out of any of the combos with Bruno involved. Because Casemiro, even though he hasn't got the legs, he does have the mind to play that CDM role. Hopefully this is a start for Lemons though, because I think Bindy's had enough chances now, and it's good to do that. I think dropping Bindy straight away would also not be great, because it shows to Lemons that, okay, yeah, if you're bad one week, then you're out the next, sort of thing. You got to have some sort of trust from your manager that, yeah, you can have an off game, but if it's too many, yeah, then you get changed. And also it gives Lemons some, that time to settle into his new club and the new country and everything. So hopefully this is where he starts. I think Ahmad comes back in definitely for Dalot. Shaw probably is going to have to start because Heaven, I don't think, is quite ready, and Martinez is still injured. But De Ligt should be back in the middle, and Yoro as well. No Maguire this time round. Dorgu probably at left back, even though Malacia is back in the training with the first team now. Malacia is interesting because he was part of that bomb squad, but I was always like, what's he done? I get the others, but Malacia has been injured and he's been just a bit average, but I wouldn't really put him in that same category. So I think he deserves an extra chance. Especially with the wing back role, I think he could do it right there. But I can't remember how good his delivery is, because that's Dorgu's main issue right now. So yeah, I think there'll be Bruno, Casemiro midfield, and then you'd think it'd be the first start at home for that new front three of Mbumo, Cunha, and Sesko. In terms of prediction, I think Man United will win the game, but very close. I think this will be a 2-1 game again. I think it'll be another nail biter, a bit like Chelsea. I know that was a whole different sort of game, but in terms of that, the end of that game, it was like, oh my God, just clear it. United never do anything easy, do they? So I'm going to go for 2-1. I mean, it would be great. If it's 3-0, brilliant. But I'll go for 2-1, and I really hope that's the case, because we need the win. Really do need the win here. Then we got the 5:30 kickoff, which is Chelsea versus Liverpool. This is really interesting because both these teams could use a win. Chelsea, they did win in midweek against Benfica, but they've had 3 red cards in a row now, which is pretty incredible. And Liverpool have lost 2 games in a row, one in the Champions League and one in the league against Palace. Liverpool have been getting away with it in the opening weeks of the season. They haven't played great, but they've got the wins. Chelsea, again, they haven't played great. They shouldn't have beat Fulham that week when Fulham had that goal wrongly disallowed. And even when they have won or got points, they haven't been convincing. So both of them need a win. Both of them are not in the best of form. But I think Liverpool just have a bit more than Chelsea. I think if Chelsea had Palmer, it might be different. But no Cole Palmer is a big miss. So I'm going to go Liverpool to win that. I think Chelsea will score. It could be like a 3-2 game, but I'll go 2-1. Then on Sunday, this is interesting. Look at all the games on Sky Sports. I'm not a Sky Sports promoter or anything, but that's quite cool. They finally have allow you to watch any game, because in the past it was just one game at 2 o'clock. But now you can pick which one you want to watch, which is much better. In terms of these games, then Villa versus Burnley. Villa had a good win. They sort of turned up for the first time last week against Fulham. They've done all right in the midweek game as well. So maybe they've got a bit of momentum starting to build. I think they'll beat Burnley. But Burnley did well against United at Old Trafford. They also pushed Liverpool close. I mean, the only reason Liverpool won that game was because Hannibal was an idiot and gave away that penalty. So Burnley have shown they are difficult to beat. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw, but I'll go Villa to get this. I think 1-0 Villa. I'll go 1-0 Villa. Everton Palace. Ooh. This one's interesting because Palace got a big win against Liverpool. But knowing Palace and knowing teams who do that, they get a big win against a big club. But then the next week they don't turn up, or they do turn up, but they just can't get the energy back up again. And Everton at home, obviously the new stadium, and Grealish, he seems to be playing okay. I'll go for a draw. It could be 0-0. But I don't know. I think Mateta might get a goal, so I'm going to go 1-1. We've got Newcastle Forest. Forest been awful. Ange hasn't won a game yet in any competition. He got knocked out by Swansea in the League Cup. I can't lie, I'm kind of happy because the owner of Forest to sack Nuno I thought was stupid. I never understood that. I understand the progress of building that team up. They did very well last season, and Nuno didn't deserve that treatment. And Ange, I never really rated Ange anyway. So I will go for... And Newcastle, obviously, they lost against Arsenal last week. I think Newcastle win this, and I think they're going to win it comfortably. So I'll go for 4. Do I go 4? That's a lot of goals. I'll go 3-0. 3-0 against Forest. Even though I usually have Chris Wood in my fantasy team, so hopefully he gets a goal. But I'll go 3-0. Wolves Brighton. Oh, so Wolves got their first point against Spurs. They played well. I watched that game. They did well. I think Wolves will... I don't know. Brighton obviously got a good win against Chelsea last time out. Also thanks to Chelsea getting a man sent off. But they did play well. I think I'll go for... You know what? This is the sort of game Wolves might win, I want to go Wolves to win. All right, this is the weird prediction. But I'm going to go for a Wolves win. They're going to win. I can't even believe I'm saying it. They're going to win 2-1. There we go. And then Brentford versus City. This will be interesting, actually, just to see how Brentford perform versus the blue side of Manchester. I think United last week could have done a lot better against Brentford. I think we could have done better. I think even forgetting the penalty, like United should have had obviously a 2-2 from the penalty, and then maybe have gone on as well. We should have also been against 10 men. However, that did not happen. But even forgetting that, United didn't play well enough to really deserve a point anyway. But Brentford, they did their job. I don't think they're awful. They've shown that they're not going to be a team that's definitely going straight down. You know, after losing all those players. City seem to be coming into some good form though, even though they did draw against Monaco, thanks to that Eric Dyer penalty. I think they'll win though. I don't think it'll be a thrashing though. I'll be surprised if it is, but I'll go for Brentford to lose and City to win 2-0. Yeah, so that's it. That's the predictions. I hope you enjoyed hearing my predictions. What are your predictions? I thought this is actually quite an easy way of doing it through the Premier League website. Also, it shows you, especially those in the UK, what channel these games are on. And also, you know, I assume the majority of these games will also be picks as well for other countries. Even though the ridiculous thing is there'll be, America, you can probably watch. I think you can watch the 3:00 games, but you can't over here, which is very annoying. So you have to do it some other way. Listen to it on the radio or something. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. Let me know your predictions in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye now.